Aloha, God bless everyone. KP here, getting ready to do chapter 10, Gestalt Therapy, Theories of Counseling and Psychotherapy. Gestalt Therapy, the people who developed it. While Frederick Perls was certainly the major developer of Gestalt Therapy with his wife Laura Perls, she actually made a significant contribution to his work as well. It was Laura actually who articulated and defined its main emphasis that the whole person, the Gestalt, is more than and also different than the sum of its part. Frederick Perls was born in 1893, and not only was he the middle child, but he was the only son to his middle-class parents. Oddly enough, although schooling was not necessarily his forte, he managed to graduate with a specialty in psychology and an MD degree. He moved to Vienna, where Freud lived. He worked, studied, was influenced by, and even mentored by key leaders in his field. He served as a medical corpsman during World War I, and afterwards he would go on to treating people with brain injuries at the Frankfurt Neurological Institution. These personal choices of his, combined with his military and professional experiences, were indeed pivotal in the development of Gestalt. Being that he was very outgoing and he possessed the skills of adaptability, he had a short stint as an actor where he met and married Laura. She was a dancer and a pianist, but she studied existentialism, and she was a support and connections advocate. The Perls would eventually leave Europe and they would move to South Africa after a short stay in Holland after Hitler took over power there. While in Africa, Fritz, he was called to serve mankind, and it would land him in South Africa in the medical corps as a captain. I mention all that to say this. It was then, while living and serving in Africa, that he would complete the outline for Gestalt therapy. It was previously known as his theory of personality integration. The couple moved to the United States. Just a little bit of background about them. He published his Gestalt therapy, Excitement and Growth in the Human Personality. He established the Gestalt of America. Momentum and growth of the Gestalt would arise of his work at the Institute of California. The hot seat solidified his captivating and pioneering status in Gestalt. He might have been a little bit more on the arrogant side for a lot of people. He died at the heightened acceptance and approval of the Gestalt therapy in 1970. Laura would continue to work on the Gestalt development and advancement until she passed away as well 20 years later in 1990. Others like Irving and Miriam Polster worked tirelessly to help perfect and advance the expanding of Gestalt while sticking to Perls' original ideas. The important theoretical concepts of Gestalt. His view of humankind. Fritz believed that mankind are innately good. He believed that every living thing, this includes people, plants, animals as well, that they're all self-driven to manifest their greatest potential. He also believed of humankind that the quality of life ultimately comes through self and not any other entity. He believed as far as wholeness, integration, and balance, that that Gestalt is a holistic. It was holistic in its approach. That its therapy stresses the importance of homeostasis, since its belief is that people cannot be separated from their environment nor from themselves. Wholeness, integration, and balance, in a sense, also says that people are thought to stay in a stuck position while attempting to satisfy some sort of equilibrium, some sort of wholeness, balance, integration. They're determined to feel some sense of security. So even if I have to stay in a stuck position, I'll do that in order to feel a sense of equilibrium. That's one of the theoretical concepts of Gestalt therapy. And that's if people are really accustomed to this unhealthy way, but because it makes me feel whole, I'll stick with it. I'll stay in this stuck position. Awareness is one of the theoretical concepts of Gestalt therapy. It's in awareness. Awareness is the trademark of a healthy individual. Awareness is the goal of Gestalt therapy. Awareness is growth, and it's achieved, and it is the growth that is achieved and promoted by living in contact with our environment. It's getting out and being one with the environment. Awareness is operating and living in the here and now. That's where awareness is found and formed and utilized. It's loosed from the past. Awareness is accepting responsibility for the governing of our own choices in life. That's the concept of Gestalt therapy, helping people become aware so that these things can be achieved and worked on and achieved. The nature of growth disorders, these two bullets will talk about that. It says people become stifled when they refuse to accept needful signs and nudges about themselves from their environment. People are thought to have an abundance of unfinished business that they have succumbed to, and now do seek to avoid imminent discomfort. And this is how people develop growth disorders, because they have developed an inordinate way of existing. Treatment using Gestalt therapy. Goals. While objectivity of treatment is comparable to both existential and person-centered therapy, Gestalt manages to hold fast to its own particular distinctiveness in goals. Promoting attention, clarity, and awareness. Helping people live in the here and now. Improving people's sense of wholeness, integration, and balance. And this was taken directly from Pearson, chapter 10, page 209. Other treatments using Gestalt therapy is how people change. Sorry, Dr. K. When people become aware of and have access to their strengths, their unfinished business, and their resources, they can grow and do become the primary change agents for their own resolutions. Okay, I'll say that again. When people not only become aware of, but also have access to their strengths, their unfinished business, and their resources, they can grow and do become primary change agents for their own resolutions. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Therapeutic alliances. What are they? Therapists seek to become as fully known with clients and so genuine and aware of his or her own disposition until clients are wooed into doing the same. It is an agreement, in a sense, to be transparent and accepting and non-judgmental with the client, and therapy relationship. Experiments. So how do experiments work in treatment? You can see experiments at play in enactments, role plays, homework, activities for clients to accomplish in between sessions. These are avenues that therapists utilize to assist clients in becoming aware of their unfinished business in order to work on it and in order to resolve it. Treatment using Gestalt therapy continued. Use of language. Gestalt therapists tend to use more statements than questions. When questions are used, attention is given to what, where, and how questions. These are given. What, where, and how questions are used over why questions altogether. Using I statements and present tense help clients own up to their feelings in the here and now. Own their feelings in the here and now. Dreams, how do they relate in the Gestalt therapy? Dreams, while Freud's view concerning dreams deal with the unconsciousness, we know that. Pearls looked at ways in which the dream world and the conscious world could integrate. In doing so, people can better own their dreams and take advantage of all that their dreams had to offer. Fantasy. How did the fantasy world, come at play in assisting Gestalt therapy? When seeking to resolve unfinished business, Gestalt therapists can utilize fantasy enactment. While similar to dream work, it's not the same in that it is more directed toward using imagery. Role play using the empty chair method. While Gestalt welcomed role play, he steered clear of using others in the role play due to the probability of causing fragmentation. The two-chair and inner conflict intended to help people become aware of and resolve their inner conflicts, develop clarity, and gain an insight into an aspect of a problem. The empty chair method and unfinished business, the empty chair, its dialogue was a way of addressing and resolving in the imagination of unclosed gestalts, unclosed brokenness, unclosed, fragmented pieces, things that were not whole. Says the body as a vehicle of communication. What is that about? We have come to realization that our emotions speak. We understand that. We know that our emotions speak. We usually don't refute the thoughts speaking for us, but for some reason we seem to be out of tune with the fact that our body is saying something to us as well. Our body speaks. In fact, I remember reading a paper over 20 years ago about Her Body Speaks. It was a very, very thorough study done, and I forget who did the study, but it was a very thorough, stunning study done about dance therapy. And it was over women who had been raped and how dance therapy helped them take control of their lives again, because areas of their life that they were restricted in, they were able to learn to release those areas through dance. Well, that's the same thing. That's what Gestalt is saying, as the body as a vehicle of communication. We have come to realization that our emotions do speak, our thoughts speak, but our body also speaks, is what Gestalt, what Fritz, came to say with Gestalt therapy. Says therapists identify messages that the body sends by drawing attention to the signaling areas, locating those emotions in the body, and repeating the exaggerations of those signals are some techniques that therapists can use to help bring about change, to help clients understand and reach awareness of what the body is saying, what the body is communicating. Says, and bring notice to the body as a vehicle of communication. The use of Gestalt in groups. The hot seat. Fritz Perls utilized a plethora of tools and skills to bring people into awareness of the here and now. The hot seat was one in which an empty chair and a box of tissue was placed in the center of a group setting. Members of the group would take turns, usually 5 to 10 minutes, each being exercised in the seat over their immediate feelings and emotions as the group provided feedback. It's kind of like, if you would think about it, if you watched a court hearing and you would hear the attorney say something like, quit badgering the witness, it would almost be like badgering, it would just go on and on and on and on. It would provoke, evoke these strong emotions and cause people to deal with very, very intense, strong emotions right now and have to figure out what is that about, and identify what it is, what is about, if it's anger, if it's hurt, if it's fear, what is it about? Identify it, bring it to awareness, identify it, and deal with it, work on it right then in the here and now, and resolve it. That's what it was about. And then making the rounds, kind of like the hot seat, but it was somewhat different than a hot seat in and of itself, because it began with the person actually in the hot seat asking each of the members of the group something. An exchange may indeed take place between the person in the hot seat and the group members, but the conversation would begin with the person actually in the hot seat asking the group member, each one of the group members, something that they wanted or desired of them. And that's what making the rounds was about. And that was using Gestalt in groups. Transaction analysis, and we're almost done. Eric Berne developed transactional analysis. While it has its roots in psychoanalysis, it is said to be usually incorporated nowadays with Gestalt therapy and psychodrama. It also focuses less on the unconscious while honing in on societal relations, emotional wellness, and accountability. Human development is reinforced when 3 ego states, the child, adult, and parent ego of personality, are in balance. Treatment using TA, transactional analysis. According to our text, it is not the insight into the unconscious that fuels treatment, but it's simply put, it is autonomy. When people move into spaces of awareness, spontaneity, and intimacy, they reach the I'm okay, you are okay position necessary for change. And that was taken from Pearson, page 219. Application and current use of Gestalt therapy. Application to diagnostic groups. It's applicable to people with problems with the regulations of emotions, such as people with sexual trauma, narcissistic people with narcissism, self-hatred, shame, and aggression. Application to multicultural groups. It looks at individuals holistically. Therefore, its approach is one of inclusiveness. We are as different as we are the same. Although people are essentially the same, when providing treatment to non-Westerners, traditional Asians, Native Americans, A skilled therapist would need to understand how to cater the treatment to fit the individual need of each one of those clients. Application to other groups. The groups that have, so many different groups, you can use Gestalt therapy with. So low achieving adolescents, high school students, middle school students that are dealing with the loss of fellow classmates, expectant mothers in preparation to give childbirth. So as you see, just a wider range of different groups of people. Current use of Gestalt therapy is, because of its popularity, major effectiveness, and it's easy to integrate within many other theories. Gestalt therapy still holds a very prominent position in an overabundance of today's treatment. Many people, I'm not gonna say every, but lots of people are dibbing and dabbing and including parts and pieces, integrating pieces of Gestalt therapy, utilizing themes of Gestalt therapy, adding it, including it in there, along with what they're doing. Evaluation of Gestalt therapy. Limitations. Just because something is good does not mean it's good for everyone. We know that. Same apply with Gestalt therapy. According to our text, people who do not benefit from Gestalt therapy are those with extreme cognitive disorders or impulse control disorders. Example, those with sociopathic or psychotic symptoms. Self-regulating emphasis may be a barrier for people with cultural background from collectivists who primarily tend to lean more on we-ness than the I-ness of Gestalt therapy. Many of the techniques used are designed to induce strong emotions. This can be detrimental to clients if therapists are not proceeding with extreme caution and extreme thoughtfulness of the client's needs at all times. Strengths and contributions. The two-chair technique is attributed to reducing marital conflict, indecision, conflict splits, and interpersonal difficulties. Its flexibility causes it to be easily integrated with many other theories. Its philosophy of life, growth, and change provides ways to assist people in the realization of growth. Its strengths have made many contributions to both psychotherapy and to counseling. It is said that chair work is so widely accepted until most have even forgotten that its origin was with Gestalt. It is said to blend so thoroughly with what we know about life today. In closing, the summary says, in the 1950s, Fritz and Laura Perls developed Gestalt therapy. It is holistic in its approach and application. Gestalt's stance is that the whole is more important to people than individual parts. Gestalt's focus is on bringing into awareness isolated or denied areas people have. Therapists use tools that reveal and bring to the forefront unfinished business and split fragmented parts of people that can cause growth, stagnation, and indeed assist people in achieving much desired goals and equilibrium. Gestalt stresses the significance of connection amongst the clients and the therapists surrounding working together, the trust, and the I-thou relationship. In Gestalt, overwhelming feelings are expressed, addressed, exposed, and integrated into a more productive manner without much thought given towards the why behind them. Gestalt therapy's success stems from the utilization of very particular skill sets, which assist people in reaching their individualized goals. The use of dream work, the hot seat, the empty chair, the two-chair technique, the fantasy trip, the use of I statements, a focus on what and how as opposed to why, and attention to nonverbal communication are all paramount with Gestalt therapy. In closing, I'll read the Gestalt prayer for you guys, written by Fritz Perls. I am I, and you is you. I am not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. I is I, and you is you. Lastly, Fritz said, the meaning of life is that it is to be lived. And it is not to be traded and conceptualized and squeezed into a pattern of systems. We realize that manipulation and control are not the ultimate job of life. So, I found this little write-up to be in agreement with what Pearl says. We shouldn't judge people for the choices that they make when we don't know the options that they have had to choose from. The end. I hope you've enjoyed my presentation. God bless and aloha.